AmReaper, and this is DMT, Journey of the Infinite Mind. Thank you all for joining me, and today we're here to discuss the good old DMT once again. So welcome back. Right, we're on to another trip report here. What I'm going to talk about today is jungle spice. Now, jungle spice, what that is DMT. It's like a red DMT, and it contains a lot of other plant fats and alkaloids. So it's a crude extraction of DMT. It hasn't been purified or simplified into DMT NMT or just DMT on its own. So it's it's a fair few other alkaloids of the plant in it. Depending on what plant you get is depending on what alkaloids you get with it as well. Usually your acacia mimosa. These are the ones that you're dealing with. So, and the jungle spice that I had was mimosa. So we'll get to that. We'll just have a bit of a squeeze here. Now, don't forget what I've said in the previous videos before we start mucking around with this stuff. Make sure your safety's first. Be careful with whatever you do, and always do your research. Like before you do DMT, as I've said before, there's the album that I use. If you go to the JOTIM YouTube page, you'll see I've got a DMT a folder there. Some of the songs, the Raven Medicine ones, are the ones that I use. That's the little excerpts that you hear at the start and end of this YouTube clip. That is little pieces of that song, Raven Medicine. I've got 2 copies of it on there, and that's so you can hear it, and you usually take off on the first time you hear it, and then by the time the second one's done, you're back and everything's all normal. The song goes about 10 minutes and 19 or 10 minutes and 20 seconds. So the point is, get yourself relaxed and be in the right mood and all that sort of stuff. Remember the coffee and that. With the chair, make sure you lay back in your chair, 3/4 lay back. Remember what I said about the breathing. And make sure you get a scale, 000 scale. Weigh your stuff out, alright? Don't fuck around with this stuff. It is very potent, and it can, too much when you're not expecting it will scare the living daylights out of you. So just be careful and use your brain and go and get yourself, spend $50 on a set of 000 scales and weigh it out properly. I like to use the sandwich method. 1 hit, 1 breath, 1 cone. Hold it in for 20-25 seconds, blow it out, lay back, see you later. Right, so here we are. We're just going to talk about jungle spice and 25 milligrams. Remember the first breakthrough dose I talked about? That was at 38. So I thought we'd tune it back a bit here and see what happens. According to the spirit molecule, my body for weight, is I'm 60 kilos, so 6/4 are 24, so level 4 experience, a bit over. Here we go. This is what they recommend for me, so I just thought I'd see what it was like. So there it is, the old jungle spice and a level 4 experience. Rightio, I'm going to light her up. I've got my book here. I'll just try and read slowly, carefully from it. I might miss things when I talk, so I can remember the experience, but I'll just relay it here. So it says, aim to test substance for any negative reactions and potency. 25 milligrams red DMT jungle spice. Results surprisingly potent and decent body load considering. After spilling a pre-packed device, loading up meditating, was ready to go. Okay, 0 to 30 seconds. I felt the body buzz come on. My heart started to fasten, breathing slightly difficulty. CEV blackness started making fractal swirls and patterns, and then started revolving. The swirling, morphing, revolving space instantly turns into an infinite space, greyish white, all background, space filled with millions of columns, very intricate, all with a stone or a jewel or symbol in the centre. All the same, ranks and files came to mind. This is the grid. I sort of previously wasn't really aware of the spatial grid system in DMT until I started smoking a lot. It was the first time I sort of came across it. Then this space we changed into something the same but different, and all these columns became a different symbol or structures, and all sorts of strange symbols and activities and motions, moving, items ever changing, but all in unison. 2 to 3 minutes. At one stage, it was like watching aliens riding strange bicycles in sync with the fractal world that I was in. Then I caught a glimpse of a city structure for only a moment. I should mention colours by now. The trip up to this point was highly grey and white, with purple and green structures. Now it had changed to a golden bicycle riders, alien magenta background, and electric blue sky. The city. After I entered the black fractal world and eventually set up. Just a quick excerpt. So what happened there was, there you go, we've lit her up. Started smoking, you feel a big body buzz come on, very heavy body buzz came on. And you start to notice the ears started to hear it like a dead, you know, when you pop your ears and you sort of ears go a bit dead, that sort of little whine you can hear, it started sounding like that. I thought, oh, that sounds strange. And then all of a sudden, I sort of noticed a lot of messy stuff going on, a few colours, and you know, something almost resembling like a portal showed up. At this stage, the body buzz and the body load was getting intense because of the contaminated spices, all the other alkaloids. The body load was very, very high. So you're laying back in the chair, you can't move. You're feeling like you've got somebody sitting on you, but you're also at the same time, you can feel yourself lifting out of your body, so to speak. You might not be, but that's what it feels like. It feels like you're lifting up and going through the ceiling. And this body load feels like you've got a sumo wrestler sitting inside you from the inside. It doesn't feel like they're pushing on your chest. It feels like you're held from the inside, stuck in your chair. So you can't move out of your chair, but you're stuck from the inside. It's a strange feeling. Scary when you first feel it. And with DMT, it's like full anaesthesia. Like, you can move if you choose to, but you don't want to move and you don't feel like moving. You just sitting there and your eyes closed back in the chair, your ears whining. And when you get the DMT spatiality, it always makes this strange like noise, and it's real. It's this high pitched bit of a whine in there. The pitch varies. It's not the same all the time. And the body load is very heavy because of the blood pressure, right? Now this is what I was saying. So you popped in, I smoked it, laid back. Took a little while to come on. You feel this huge, great body buzz coming, huge, great, big sedation. All the blackness behind your eyes started to create a big void, and that void started to fractalise. That fractal turned into like a spinning morphing tunnel with some sort of symbolish looking thing in the middle. Went through that into this like gridded place, and it was almost like I was flying. I was sort of looking at this gridded place, and when I went through that, it was really strange. I remember it's like I was flying, and I was looking down, and I could see like a ravine in a city, and yeah, it was really some mountains and stuff like that. It wasn't like normal. It was really strange looking, but it was, and the sky had a grid on it, and the floor of the world had a grid on it. So there was just a normal looking world sort of thing encapsulated in this top and bottom grid, like you see on the screen there. And it almost feels like a breakthrough. It wasn't like a breakthrough or whatever, but the reality is completely different. It's not like spinning around watching fractals. You're sitting there somewhere watching. And this is what it's like here. You see, there you go into this fractal world and you see top and bottom, but it's a world. It's weird. And for me, I was just flying along, and I could see this city, and I could see this with some buildings, and I could see this ravine going down, and then I could see this platform type thing. And I was fairly high up. I was fairly small. Then all of a sudden, I've just sort of come down just really quickly. It's just everything's all changed, and the background's all changed, and it's like that platform was talking. It's like I'm standing on it, and I'm standing out looking over this ravine. You can see the mountains in the background, and you can see some buildings, and the whole sky's got grids through it. And there's all this, like, where I was standing was almost like pavement. It was like sand and then pavement, and I was looking over this huge big ravine with these with mountains in the background and a few buildings in the corners, like some strange looking city. It was weird. I didn't understand what was going on. But as I said, you're encapsulated. The whole place is encapsulated in a grid. And there it is there. There's my crappy drawing. We can't draw shit, but so there's some pretty spay out draws in the next few episodes. But that's what I'm trying to emphasise there. When I was standing on this platform looking over, this is like this, when I said alien bike riders, that's what it looked like. So those little three things there, look, there's three little circles. Those there on that pole, they're all spinning and rotating like this. The wheels are spinning around, and they're swinging around like a pendulum on a stick, like this, just spinning around and spinning around. And they're all doing it in unison. It was really weird watching. I sat there and just watched it for a while. And that picture there is like a depiction of all the different things that you saw in the trip. Like there was the sand, and then you can see like this pyramid in the background. When you're looking down at the world, you can see this pyramid over here, and you can see these buildings over here, and you can see big ravine running through. And yeah, and that's what that picture represents. The sky, which was magenta. You see the crappy picture of mountains there, down into the ravine. You see the bricks on the edge of standing on the foreshore. You see the alien guys looking little bike riders that are spinning around, as you call them. And yeah, it was a very, very spun out trip. And then after a while, with this, you feel the pressure's intense, and feel like you're holding you back in the chair, and you feel it through your face, and you can feel it going everywhere. And it's fairly concerning, to be honest with you. And yeah, it really is. You're thinking to yourself, well, I've read so much about this stuff, it says it's nothing going to hurt you, and you're thinking to yourself, bloody hell, this could hurt you. Like, fuck, I'm about to pop a bloody blood vessel in my head, and I'm going to have an aneurysm, or is my face got a bloody, your mouth's got stuck open like this, and you can't close it, and it's weird. Sometimes you get some strange things happen on DMT. But I've had the mouth thing a few times where your mouth drops open, and you just can't close it, and it's just stuck open. Sometimes it feels like you're at the dentist. Just like, it feels like someone's like, opening your jaw up. But yeah, back to the story. So we come into this place, it all changed, went through into this other world here, had a bit of a look at it, came back down, stood on this platform, looked over into this thing, the bike ride looking dudes on there spinning around, everything's just being amazed at what was going on, everything's just changing and morphing and slowly, and just everything's just changing. Before that, when I got into that part, as I've just gone up, before I actually went through the bit in the centre where it became a world, it was almost like all these grids came up, and then they all separated out of themselves, and then they all twisted, and then they all sort of went like this, and then they all mingled, and then they twisted again, and they were just sort of doing that. And it looked like ranks and files of all different lines and grids, and it was really strange to look at. And I had this thought to myself, I said, that's the filing cabinet of my own mind. That's a stupid, retarded thing to say by the sound, but that's what it come through my head when I was looking at it. I was just looking at it thinking, what the hell is this? And she goes, that's the filing cabinet of your own mind. It's just all these ranks and files, and it was just strange. And then I went through that, sort of dissipated, and went through the middle, and off I went. Well, it was actually probably just after that, before I got into this world. I can't remember, but anyway, I remember doing that. It's got written in here. I remember that, doing that there, going through and separating the gridded place, and off I went and having a look at this world and flying along. Yeah, so it's very scary and very odd. Like, that wasn't as scary as the other trip that I was talking about, and I've had a lot scarier ones. I mean, that wasn't really scary, it was just odd, and the pressures that you're under because of the contaminated spice was rather high, which is concerning. Then after the fallout, which is called the fallout, DMT for me is usually got pure crystal DMT, they've 3, contaminated spice can use NMT, you can usually have 4, and what I mean by that is you go up, and you feel the pressure come on, fucking hell. I'm like, fucking, what did I do this to myself for? And then all of this, then when your trips after a while, when the peak's done, it'll start to wear off. When the DMT wears off, it's almost like you feel a pressure lift off you, and then the trip will change to a lower level, and then you feel it lift off you again, and then it'll change to a lower level, and then usually after the second or third time, you fall out and you go back into what you could say people you call LSD or shroom land. It's like all this just all this swirly shit flying around with a few lines here and a few geometric patterns and things. So similar to this, So you fall out and you go back into this black scape of a void before you started, before the symbol came up. You just float around there. It's very relaxing. You sit in there, you can milk at this stage. You can milk DMT for 15-20 minutes and sit in that stage if you want. If you have NMT/DMT, you can actually open your eyes at this stage, and then you have a few open eye visuals, and you can close them again. You go fairly well back to where you were in the trip. But if you've got pure crystal DMT, what I find is after this stage, if you open your eyes, you have a few OEVs, and then open eye visuals, and then everything will dissipate and be gone. The NMT in the other DMT, so the stuff contaminated with NMT will actually allow you back into this space for a fair bit longer. Okay, just to note that. And once that happens, you fall out. There's 8 minutes since you've smoked it or whatever. You feel like you've just woken up. Whoa, wow, what was that? You just feel like you've just woken up. You're tired. You're a bit groggy, and you can't see properly. And when you open your eyes, your colours are like you've got a blue hue to it. It looks really strange. It's hard to sort of focus on it. You're a bit disorientated. Sort of thing. It's not too bad. I don't know if I've mentioned before. I will say again, but DMT is a funny thing. While you're on DMT, you can still remember everything and think 100% clearly with your own mind. It's not something like alcohol or LSD. Everything sort of changes. LSD is not too bad, but alcohol's a bad one that changes your perception and your consciousness of things. DMT is the most potent of them all, but it's the one that actually you can regain 100% conscious thought while you're doing it. Yeah. And after about, from the time you smoked it to the time you're back down, so usually, you smoke it, it takes 8, 10 minutes, 20 minutes sometimes. You're back down, another half hour after that, you're pretty good. You know what to know. You probably drive a motor car an hour and a half after. You drop sooner, but I wouldn't recommend, probably an hour and a half after. And, yeah. after about half an hour when you come back from DMT, you must have like a serotonin overload, because you get there and you pipe right up. So you get tired, you wake up, you're tired and groggy for about half an hour, and then you sort of wake up and you get this burst of energy for about an hour, and then you'll just go to sleep. But I will mention, on this time on this jungle spice, I didn't actually get any sleep. It was a very insomniac. After this, I didn't get bugger all sleep at all. Yeah, it's lucky it was on a weekend. I'm not the smoke DMT through the week. It may seem like I talk about DMT a lot and smoked a lot of it on here, but I have, but it's been over a long period of time. It's not like you grab this stuff and smoke it every night. That'd be silly. You know, it's usually 8 to 12 weeks between. Alright, so write us a comment. See if you like. It wasn't the best trip video, but if you actually listen to some things I said and just picture yourself, you know, these aren't words. These are actually things that happened. So you actually visualising, you're closing your eyes and you do imagine seeing seeing a huge big city and interacting. Next time I actually have a fairly high dose and I get to interact with a life form in one of these places, which is rather interesting. We'll talk about that next time. So subscribe and you get to know when the new content comes out. Send me an email, like I said before down there, email at JOTIM@gmail.com. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I will let you know that these experiences are fucking crazy. They are way out there past what you can even imagine they're going to be like. They're bloody out there. And you might see on TV or depicting what people's DMT trips are like, but when these things are happening to you, she's pretty full on. There's not one drug you can turn off and jump out of the chair and run away from. Like, once it's on, it's on. So, you know, make sure you measure it, make sure you know what you're doing, and make sure you've done all your preparations and you're right in your own mind. Because once you flick the switch on, you can't turn it off. It turns itself off when it wants to. Okay? And it's pretty crazy experiences, and they can drive you batty. So just be careful on that too. So next time we're actually going to have a 30 plus milligram of pure crystals that we got, and these weren't extracted ones. These were acquired ones. So we'll have a bit of a chat about that. It was a pretty wow experience. And this time we're going to a huge, great big landscape, and we have to tune in next time to talk about that. I'm trying to get these through quickly because I want to try and get through to one. The next, there's this one, and then there's another one where I meet this family, these guys, and then after that I'll talk about a big trip I had, where I sort of went through and met these sort of clown guys. It was weird, man. Anyway, we'll talk about it. I don't know why that happened, but it did. And then we'll talk about some of the like codes and things you see. Like DMT sometimes throws up like codes and almost looking like binary or computer graphics. Like this stuff when you see it when you go into these places, it's like it's like CGI. It's got computer generated imagery. It's not like a dream state, and it's not like what you think. And when you see it, you just go, what? Like sometimes it's like that, and other times it's like a pastel drawing type of landscape. It's nothing like you think it is. It doesn't look anything like you think. Nothing like a dream, nothing like a vision. Sometimes it ranges from almost cartoony to earthy type thing in pastel colours and things like that. Almost drawn in crayon, not crayon but pencil, all the way through to fluoro crystal walls and spinning geometry of radiant, vibrant, and further into worlds of full-on contact, so you call it. I mean, I don't know. The reason I keep doing this, I'll natter on, is because I would have stopped ages ago, because I've sort of found a few different experiments, and we'll talk about later after we finish these trip videos. We'll talk about some things that I've sort of since learned about the brain and different things. So I sort of lost what I was trying to get out there, but I was going to say, I've learned that it might not be all what it seems to be, but in saying that, as I said, I had a premonition years ago where I had a dream, and if you can see into the future, then something's got to be already pre-written. And if I had a very bad premonition years ago, I saw a bloke, as I said, with a shotgun that blown half his head off, and then I met him 3 years later. And if you can do that sort of stuff, I'm not the only one, hundreds of people can do this sort of shit. Well, I didn't do it, it just happened. What does that mean? Does it mean that you can see the future? But how can you see the future? There must mean it's already written. If it's already written, you're just tapping into the information that's there. But your point is, if it's already written and the information's already there, and then it gives more aspect to the DMT when you go into a DMT trip, as I said the first time, and you know you've been there, and you know you've been there 3 or 4 times before, but you've never seen it ever before, and that'll scare the absolute shit out of you. It did me, and yeah, that gives another whole aspect to it all. So they say DMT is all in the mind, yes, but what is the mind, and how does it all work, and how does it all connect with the universe, or what's going on? Is it a simulated reality like Elon Musk is talking about? If, you know, radio signals and that can fly through the air, do certain things. What's to say that, you know, when you're doing your meditation, it's raising your vibration, which is raising the frequency of the body, which is the electrical pulse or symbol of the, you know, signature of the body. You're raising that with the electricity in your brain. So, and if you can transfer signals by electricity, and they've proven a Large Hadron Collider, electricity, if it can be turned into, like matter can be turned into electricity, and electricity be turned back into matter. That's what they call the God particle, basically. Well, what's not to say that you can't travel to a place and information isn't all like radio waves of electricity, like they believe, like everything's connected with electricity, like the cells and the body works on electricity. You know, Wallace Thornhill, if you look in the JOTIM DMT, you'll see a guy there called Wallace Thornhill, and he talks about that sort of stuff. But it's a highly probable, you know, it's not a bad theory. It's not a very nice one. It's not one you want to think of, or so to speak. It's not what you're expecting, but yeah, it's quite possible. Because this DMT aspect, as I say, the aspect of DMT is very computerized. It's very, very computerized. Very. Another word you can say when I was talking about is the low DMT trips is called tessellations. Yeah, you see tessellated patterns. Yeah. Alright, enough dribble. Thanks for watching. That was a dose of 25 milligrams of jungle spice. Alright then. Not something I'll be doing too much. I only had half a gram of it, but it's not my favourite type of DMT. But it does give a different aspect to the trip. I was very surprised in this. I didn't expect to see myself flying over a city on all the world enclosed in grids, and then landing and having a bit of a look around, sort of thing. And yeah, then falling out into the black world and back to myself. It was a good trip. It wasn't nowhere near as scary as the first, but there's some more scary to come. Right then, guys, thanks for watching. Till next time, I'm AmReaper, which is DMT, Journey in the Infinite Mind, and peace out and look after yourselves. As I said, I do this for harm reduction. To no way do I condone the use of illegal substances or drugs by people. It's a silly idea. In most aspects, if you're going to do these sort of things, make sure you know what you're doing, or try and know what you're doing. Research, find some good stuff, whatever else. I don't condone to doing it, but we do know how the world goes. People do these things. So the more information you can get, the better. That's how you reduce harm, by education. Alright, anyone want to send us anything, chucks a line. Thanks, and see you next time. Alright guys, cheers, bye.